That's right, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the Jak City Podcast Backstage Sports Edition with your host, Rob Eggers, alongside my buddy, brother from another mother, Roy Herman. How we doing, y'all?
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, Roy.
How you doing, man?
Hey, you see this brick behind me?
Yeah.
Slammed right into it. So, what I mean by that, guys, we are so dedicated to this podcast. We are trying our hardest to make this the best content you can possibly imagine and have. And, I have to thank you, Roy, man, because we've been through a hell and back just trying to get this podcast going. And we didn't really talk about, when we really decided to do this again, have we? We haven't really said, hey, wasn't it like last year, a year and a half ago?
You're right, exactly. We said we'll get it going when we're ready because we want it to be great, because that's what we are. We're we're perfectionists, type A personalities, like the Michael Jordan mentality. I'm like that with everything, and I know you're the same.
I am, and that's
sometimes
why
we're
always
difficult
running late
to be around because we expect greatness, and if everybody can't step to the level, then get out of the way.
The OCD always kicks in for me. I'm a perfectionist, and a lot of my coworkers, you even know, going back to the sports preview days back in Bolingbrook, Illinois, when we were at the studio, I'm there 5-6 hours before showtime, just trying to write out all the formats. As you can see, like I'm still writing stuff out old school here, guys. Like, and these are just
and that's
notes.
why we're stressed out, and everybody else is just super chill because they don't care. You see,
exactly.
We care too much, man.
But we are going to get some help on the show. We're going to have a producer later down the line, so I can kind of free up, just by paying attention to this microphone and paying attention to you guys and paying attention to you, Roy, and our future guests that we have on the show.
Cool.
We are missing someone today. Darian Walker is not with us today. He's having a very, 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 very busy day at IMG Academy. So I want to give a shout out to Darian.
Darian. Put in the work.
He's doing a hell of a job right now. I mean, at IMG Academy, for those who know, right here, I have the logo and the hat from them. I worked with them during the football season for the national. We won a national championship for post-grad. Congratulations to the post-grad team, Terrence Flagler.
Congratulations.
2-time Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers. He was the head coach of the post-grad program. Unfortunately, IMG has parted ways this year with the post-grad program, so that's unfortunate. But he was a great influence and taught me a lot about football alone last season. So he's a future guest. I'm going to spoil the news. He's a future guest. He's confirmed. He'll be on the show.
He played behind should be Hall of Famer Roger Craig. Roger Craig hasn't made the Hall of Fame yet. He should. But anyway, Flagler played behind him. So
correct. Yeah, and he played in Arizona to end his career as well.
Yep.
So we're going to have him on the show in the future. We also are going to have Jeff Blake, former Cincinnati quarterback. And Roy, I should have had you bring. When we have Jeff on, I
have his starting memorabilia, 1996, made by Kennard, because I collected those and I still do. I love them. They don't make them anymore, but the nostalgia. And I have his Cincinnati Bengal rookie one. But he later on went on to be with the Bears, one of like 200 and whatever quarterbacks we've had since 1992. So.
I think you're off by like 500. But yeah, he was one of the quarterbacks that like came in, threw a few passes, and then left.
I'm just talking about starters now.
Yeah,
I'm not mentioning backups. Now you're 500 if you want to get into backups.
Exactly.
Those are just starters since 1992. Green Bay Packers, you know how many they've had since 1992 starters?
7 million. No, they only had 2.
Favre?
Three is Favre, Rodgers, Love.
Now Love. Yep. 3.
Gotta love
it. Isn't that insane?
No pun intended. Absolutely. So Jeff Blake will be on the show in the future. We also, and let me put this man up right now. This man, Norris Thomas, he is also at IMG Academy. Let me pop him on the screen here. He is also going to be on the show. Oop, that's the wrong one. Why is that not working here? Oh, it's because I'm on this source. I will show that here in a little bit, but he's also going to be on the show and let me type him in right now. But he is a huge influencer for me. I met him, got the honor to meet him about almost a month ago, and he actually does a lot of the broadcasting. He's a teacher for IMG, and he does the broadcasting side of things. And that studio is phenomenal, Roy. If you went into IMG's studio, you will see how big the green screen is. They have Heath and Allen um, boards, so it's really cool. It's really cool to see. I highly advise anyone that's looking to do broadcasting, and if you have the moolah to go there, go to IMG Academy, and you're going to have yourself an amazing mentor and teacher in Norris
Never
Thomas.
stop learning.
Never stop learning. So I'm going to find him here shortly. But you also, Roy, have a guest that's going to be coming on here in the future. Why don't you tell everyone who's going to be coming on here soon?
Yeah, once we get things situated, he's a very busy man, but I'm going to put it up. I don't know if you guys could see it. Sly, the program man, the only guy who has an upper deck card of himself. There it is, upper deck.
I like it. Yes.
So that's pretty cool in its own right. But he sells programs outside Fenway Park. He was here in Chicago during the 2016 World Series. His program company's the YawKey Way Report, which I'm a writer for it. So I'll be in the first edition coming up in April. It's on sale outside Fenway Park. So if you go to the game, don't buy it inside. Buy it outside with Sly, because it's only $3 and you get a couple pieces of memorabilia, sometimes a pin, a pennant, a baseball card. And not only that, but he also has a company called Beantown Collectibles. So he sells vintage toys, military items, baseball cards, you name it, he's got it. He's got Optimus Prime Transformers. Everything is in the box. Now, if you can't afford to pay $5,000 for an Optimus Prime in the box, he does have loose ones that you can buy for about maybe 80, 90 bucks. It's just still expensive. The point of the matter is he is a United States former Marine, also serves in the Army Reserve. So he's a rags to riches story. He built everything from the ground up. No help, no stimulus, no loans, he just all hard work on the streets, an East Boston guy. And he is just amazing. He's got amazing stories. He's been everywhere, done everything. He's at Comic Cons. You can catch him on YouTube, and you can watch some of his videos and things that he's done. And he's super hilarious, and he's a great guy. It's an honor to have his card because, Upper Deck made these, right? And who has their own baseball card if you're a non-athlete?
Exactly. That's an honor. I mean, I'd be honored for sure. I mean, that's amazing.
And I have an autographed baseball by him. The 700 consecutive sellouts of Fenway. He gave me that ball and he signed it. And to date, I am his only autograph. He just doesn't sign. Now, Matt Damon and those commercials with Ben Affleck with Duncan. Well, he already did one. He did one with Jenny Dell, which is amazing too. She's now on CBS and married to Will Middlebrooks, former third baseman. But like I said, this guy is just, it's going to be cool to have him on. He'll have some awesome stories.
So near the end of the show, I want to take some time and I want to show a clip. I know we have a couple clips from him on his YouTube. So when you're doing your top 5 winners and losers, by the way, a little teaser for later in the show for the NFL free agency pool here, because it's been a very, very, very interesting
it's been a whirlwind, man.
So we're excited for that. We're just going to kind of be BSing here for a minute because we really haven't had time to just relax on the podcast, right? So now I found it. I want to get back to Norris real quick before we move on. So I want everyone to see Norris Thomas, the master human experience is what he's doing right now. And as you can see, everyone that sponsors him and where he's been, this man right here is who you want to follow if you are into speakers, if you like to read. He just had a book that came out, and I'm very excited to have him on the next show. He has a lot of cool stories to talk about, and he also has just a lot of good insight. It's really, really cool. It's going to be really cool to have him on the show. So I just want everyone to see that. Make sure to follow him on LinkedIn, follow him on all social medias, and there it is. Boom, boom, boom. So yes, Roy, I'm very excited for today's show. And how you been, buddy? What's going on? What's new in Roy Herman's life? What do we have to look forward to? You said that you're actually going to be you've just been writing. You have your first article coming out here soon. What are people are going to expect with your articles?
Well, the first article is going to be about the Red Sox ace, right? So who's going to anchor that rotation? And it started out, it was going to be about Lucas Giolito, who they just acquired in free agency. Of course, he was the ace of the White Sox for a while there, threw a no-hitter, and then he just hit a wall. He had personal problems, like a lot of Americans do, or people around the world. And then he last year just kind of hit rock bottom. And the Red Sox signed him, low risk. It looked like he could have been the ace of that staff, and now he just had elbow surgery. So that threw a monkey wrench in the plans. Not Tommy John, but he has that new innovative procedure now. They call it a sleeve. Trevor Story had it. Brock Purdy had it. They throw like kind of a sleeve in your arm to hold it in place. Mm-hmm. And then you can come back after a year versus a year and a half or 2 years. So with that being said, I'm going to write about Brian Bayo, who just signed a contract extension. Brian Bayo he kind of like came out of nowhere. He's a 24-year-old Dominican, a young guy who is kind of a carbon copy of Pedro Martinez. And Pedro Martinez went on record of saying, Brian Bayo, he said, at this point, he goes, he's better than me. And I'm like, wow, those are some big words coming from a Hall of Famer. So you'll have to read the article. It's going to be in the YawKey Way Report. I'll write all about it. The struggles that Lucas Giolito had personally, and also Brian Bayo, his rise from obscurity, poverty to potential ace. He will be the ace. And I already picked up a PSA 10 graded card of Brian Bayo. I got it dirt cheap, but you know what? You grab those early on because then, they shoot up fast. So look out for Brian Bayo.
Nice.
Of the Red Sox to be.
Well, and check this out, right? I think we just need to go right into it. I know that Sly is with a man named Batman Mark, and I have the video right here, and I want to play a little bit of it because I know that you and I have researched this, but I want to play a little bit of what Sly actually has so our viewers can understand what they're in for. So let's take a listen.
I had them graded, and even when they graded them, they were like, wow, these are extremely rare. Like, we don't see these.
What is something like this right here, right now, going for
$3,000 for two figures. And I might
$3,000.
I've had a couple.
I actually have a set myself. So I think me and him are the only two people that have them.
Right now
I want to stop right here because there's a story behind this, right? He actually found these left in an abandoned building. Am I correct? Is that the correct side of the story? I know
he would have to tell the story better, but Mego, what they did is they were making these prototype. As you could see, they're cheap. They're just little prototype figures, and then they basically like ran out of money and had to close the doors. And what was out there was out there. Well, from 1981, 82. That stuff all wound up in the garbage can. I mean, think about your toys, Rob. Did you keep your toys? Who kept their toys from their childhood?
I have some of
whatever is there, and it's graded because I've seen those online on eBay ungraded for $100, but graded they're $3,000. Now he's got a set. I bought a set. I don't see any more out on eBay. So if they're out there somewhere. But it's supply and demand. But everything's graded now. Right. You could grade your hat. You could grade your cat. You could grade. Right. In all seriousness, though, VHS tapes, comic books, everything's graded. So it's a way for the industry to make more money, but for you to make more money because it goes from, like I said, ungraded $100 to $3,000. So, but yeah, those figures are amazing, and that TV show is one of my all-time favorites. It's a cult classic, and I love those shows that people think are cheesy. And they were then, but you know what? As we age, we've talked about mental health, PTSD, and anxiety. Sometimes it's fun to just sit down and watch something mindless and just get lost into it. And you just feel like you're a part of something that from yesteryear was great, And it was a comedy, sci-fi, and just a great show. And with toys, and the memorabilia, it really helps people if you do have PTSD or whatever. And he talks about he's gone on to tell me, remember Back to the Future, Rob?
Oh, absolutely. Probably one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
Okay, so he goes back in time, but what era was it that he went back?
1985. 1985 to 1955, excuse me.
Exactly, 55. So when we were kids, right, the 50s, that was like the time frame of the nostalgia. Well, now it's showing our age. What's the time period now that everybody's going back in time to? The 80s, right?
Yes.
Stranger Things.
And let's not forget that they almost got the Chicago Cubs right, winning the World Series.
Exactly.
We were this close on that being for real.
The point of the matter is we're at that stage now where we're the 1950s of the Back to the Future and the 80s. So, that all that stuff is hot right now. All the memorabilia, toys, cards, and especially with the pandemic, when everybody was stuck in the house and just losing their minds, they were going through cards and in their basements and finding stuff. And it made everybody happy again.
Yeah, I've started finding myself more on my hobbies that I like to do, and that's when I really started getting back into this. So, unfortunately, yes, 2020 was a very hard year for everybody, but it definitely, I think, helped motivate a lot of people, in my opinion, to start sparking some of their interest that they love to do. It
helped Sly's business big time because everybody was buying before, but they really were buying. That was the boom for him, and. His everything you're buying though is from a local guy who, again, he's from East Boston, but he he's a veteran, and I don't know, for the people who watch Netflix that saw The Golden Touch. Okay, so this guy, Golden, he it's hard to relate to him because he is with the elite, the people that are billionaires and millionaires and whatever. Sly is the guy that represents us. Yes, his products, he has the best of everything. It's just that, how can I put it? He's relatable. He's our age. He's relatable. He'll have a conversation with you. He's lived everything. And even though he's president and CEO, he's on the street selling his programs.
Right.
He's not just delegating and letting other people do it.
Exactly. So let's watch a little bit of. I backed it up a little bit because I think this is where he explains where this came from, and it's amazing to me where this all is coming from. So let's take a listen.
I don't know.
It's the story that sells the item down the road, apparently.
True. Yeah. There's stories about a lot of this. There's stories like, for instance, I got a great story for you right here. Right. This here.
This is it.
Is the greatest American hero action figures. Right. And we'll put those out. There's a great story here. Mego, 1981, right? Great toy company. They've been around forever. One day, they're making these in their factory, and somebody calls down to the plant manager or something, turn off the presses. Why? Oh, we just went bankrupt. We're closing. That's like the legit story of what happened. And I talked to the guy. There's a guy here that worked at Mego. They went to work one day like it was a regular day. These guys show up at work, and they're like, oh, we're out of business. The plant's closed. These figures were actually on the assembly line when the plant closed.
Okay. That's what.
So obviously they didn't fulfill their contract. Obviously they didn't get to stores. Obviously they're rare. Flash forward now. I got these a while back. They were in baggies because that's how they blew them out in 1981, like by the pound. Right. And anyone, like for a dime each, sell them for 50 cents in your retail store. I had them graded. And even when they graded them, they were like, wow, these are extremely rare. Like, we don't see these.
What is something like this right here, right now, going for?
$3,000.
$3,000, man.
And I might be shortchanging myself. I've had a couple auction houses.
I'm going to pause this for a second. $3,000, everybody. $3,000. So let me tell you something. Roy has them, right?
I paid it.
Start looking in your attic. Start looking in your attic, everybody. Look in your attic. Talk to your kids. This is why it's important when you tell them, guys, leave them in the box. If you want to buy one, cool. Have one for collectible, and then have one to play as a toy with whatever you want to do with it. But this is the stuff I've been talking about. I've been telling my mom and dad about this. Like my father, which Roy very well, my mother very well. Yep. My father was a huge card collector like I was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the cards that you have and I have, like, what is your biggest prized possession right now for any type of baseball, football, basketball card? What is your biggest prized possession you got?
That's a loaded question. I mean, because
They're number one right now. If you had a fire and all of those were sitting there right now, but you can only save one, which one are you grabbing and why? Put you on the spot, bro.
probably have to grab my my 1961 Mickey Mantle graded, just because that's the year that Maris broke it's the 62 tops, but it has the 61 stats on the back, and that's the year that Roger Maris and he had the home run chase. And fast forward to McGuire and Sosa when they broke the record then.
Mhm.
But I mean, I've got a lot. It's hard to say, I'm having some brain fuck on all my inventory right now, but I'd probably say I'd grab that one. But I got a Dick Butkus rookie. I got Gale Sayers. Those are graded. Montana rookie graded.
You got Montana rookie graded one? Oh wow.
Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff, so I'll have to I'll bring some cards on the show.
Please do.
Sometime.
That'd be
and
awesome.
I could display some, and I'll talk a little bit about my card collection.
It's very
but I'm
nostalgic.
kind of a junior compared to Sly. But Sly doesn't collect for himself. He has everything he has as strictly as a business. Mine
Right.
is a collection that I've been collecting since I was 10. And, I just got a Connor Bedard I found on eBay, sticker rookie, and I got it for $6.50 on auction.
You better put that thing in like the biggest freaking protection box of all time. He's going to be a legend. This kid is unbelievable.
Grab your Connor Bedards now, because those are going to be like the 1952 Mickey Mantle, or
it's probably the Michael Jordan rookie card. Boom, you said it at the same time.
Well, Bedard's going to be these rookie cards now, because he already broke the record. I mean, my gosh, it would have broken John. He already has like 25 goals scored on the year, which is insane.
Man, I would have loved one time. I mean, we did see it. We saw Kane and Bedard in the ice at the same time, and obviously we know what happened at the end result. Kane got the overtime winner in Chicago, and all of us Chicago fans were cheering. Of course, we're cheering for Kaner, man.
Of course, the
Blackhawks suck this year. Sorry, I'm a huge Blackhawks fan. I always see what's going on with them every single day, and it hurts. But it's called rebuilding mode, and you just got to deal with it. But I'm telling you, we love Kaner, and I'm glad Kane was able to come back to Chicago. And really, when he got, obviously we remember the hit that Bedard gave him, right?
Yeah. He just kind of wanted to say, "Hey, hi, welcome.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good to see you. I'm the new guy in town."
Exactly.
But
it's like a Chris Chelios story. Kane's going to go out with the Red Wings, like Chelios did. Give it about 10 years or so, and then Kane will have a statue next to Makita and Bobby Hall outside. And we're like 2007 right now of the Hawks. We got Bedard, but it's going to take a few years. We got to give him a sidekick, right? We got to give him a Johnny Taves. So we got to find that guy. So being bad this year is good for the Hawks, because they'll have a good draft pick. Then we'll pair him up with somebody else, and then just give Kyle Davidson some time. Fast forward in about 3-4 years, and the Hawks are they'll be back, and they'll be contending for cups again. So
yes, absolutely. And that's why I really am excited for what is going to occur in the future, because you've got to build around Bedard and Hall. I mean, there's a lot of the people you got to build around with that team, but the goaltending just sucks. We better find some goaltending in our defense. Like, let's get bigger. All right, let's go out there and do. I want to Seabrook back there. I want a Duncan Keith.
The hardest part is over,
let's
though.
Go. Let's get it.
We've got Bedard. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Finding your generational talent, finding your Connor McDavid or your Sidney Crosby or your Wayne Gretzky. We've got that piece. Now you just build around that. And I'm not going to say it's easy, but what would you rather do? Would you rather have Bedard and then build around? This is a good problem to have.
It
finding those
great problem to have. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Don't worry about it.
Well, since we're speaking of sports, Roy, we got a lot to talk about on free agency, man. And I want to get right into it, because we're recording on Friday, March 15th. So
That'd be St. Patrick's weekend, everybody.
St. Patrick's weekend, everybody. And I want to also give a special shout out to Everett, my lady's son. He's going to be turning 9. His birthday is on the 18th of March. So
what a cool birthday, man. Well. When he gets older, he'll really enjoy it. Have a beer.
Happy birthday to him.
And a beer for St. Patrick's Day.
And I'm kind of indulging as I can. It's Friday, baby. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's almost 5 o'clock here anyway, so it doesn't matter. But let's get right into it, man. Sources from ESPN.com just broke the news that the Philadelphia Eagles has Steelers trading quarterback Kenny Pickett to the Eagles, and I kind of want to talk about this. And
but so the Eagles are getting Kenny Pickett, right, and a 2024 number 120 overall pick. The Steelers are receiving a 2024 number 98 overall pick and two 2025 7-round choices. The question I have to ask, well, first of all, who's Kenny Pickett, the player? He was drafted to be the franchise replacement for Ben Roethlisberger. That was specifically what his role was going to be, and Mitch Trubisky was going to be the bridge. Well, Mitch Trubisky is gone. Terrible, we know. But
Right.
Pickett wasn't ready for the role. He came in, and then he had to compete with Mason Rudolph, and neither one seemed to be the answer. Enter Russell Wilson, who's going to be the bridge. What I was hoping to see, if I was a Steeler fan, would have been Russell Wilson kind of mentor and take on Kenny Pickett and have a rebound year himself. Steelers, compete for the playoffs, and then you hand the keys back to Pickett. However, he's gone. I don't know why. I'm perplexed, flabbergasted. And why did the Eagles want Kenny Pickett? Are they planning on having him maybe as an emergency in case? Well, obviously he's going to back up Jalen Hurts, but is Jalen Hurts maybe not going to re-sign there? And are they blaming last year's collapse on him? And if the Eagles don't rebound this year and go back to the Super Bowl, is Hurts gone? Is this their statement to Hurts that's saying, you better win, son? If not, we've already got your replacement in the house.
See, that's where I'm going to have to disagree with you, because I don't think Pickett is on
Please
the level
disagree
of what Jalen Hurts is capable of doing. I mean, if any football fan that watched the Philadelphia Eagles last year, whether you love them or hate them, on a football aspect, the just going 10-1 and tanking the rest of the season and not having any freaking what's what I'm looking for. They weren't even supposed to be in the damn playoffs. Let's just put it that way, okay? Tampa Bay made them look bad, and it was so embarrassing to watch. I actually, for the first time in probably 10 to 12 years, I shut the TV off in a playoff game and said, I'm done. Thank God. Let's get this over with. So when Jordan Mailata came to IMG Academy, I had the opportunity to meet him, and you'll see if you hit us up on our socials at HJC Media Group, you'll see him with a bunch of IMG guys that are there from the NFL IPP, which the new NFL IPP documentary dropped today. And it's about our kickers going to the combine. So make sure to check that out on NFL UK. Little drop there. But yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I don't see Pickett really fitting in with the fans. Yes, you're staying in PA. Steeler fans
He was
are a
born
hell of
a
a lot
Eagles
different.
fan, by the way. He
And
was
there you
growing
go.
up an Eagles, big time Eagles fan.
So he's going to understand what he's getting his ass into, because if you suck, you're going to hear about it. And if you're walking down the street, you're going to hear about it. Philly is not a joke. I mean, a lot of people say that Philadelphia fans are probably the worst fans in the world. They probably are. I'm not one of them. I'm different. I see eye to eye with what's going on in the football level, but I also see eye to eye with management. If you can't, if you're not, if you're seeing a flutter, okay, Howie Roseman's doing a great job. I'm not going to say he's not. I'm not going to say that Nick Sirianni is doing a bad job at coaching. Did he do a bad job this year? Yeah, he lost.
He's on the hot seat. He has to
He
be
is
on
on a hot seat. Yeah, you're definitely in a hot seat. You're definitely in a hot seat this year. You're
You
getting
win or
one more chance. You're done. And you know what? And can he get fired if he goes, let's say 11-6?
Yes,
right?
Lovie Smith did 10-6 here.
Right, and
He was
takes
our
them to
last
the
winning
playoffs
coach here in Chicago.
Well, let me ask you this: since he's in the hot seat, and you have Rudolph now, right? Mason Rudolph, you have him, but I'm sorry, not Mason Rudolph, Pickett. See, I'm on the Steelers side now. You got Pickett. Do you feel that Sirianni will be another Lovie Smith if he wins one playoff game, the wild card, let's say, beats Dallas twice this year? Does that get him off? I mean, we don't know the speculations of his hot seat contract, right? Because
I think he's got to get at least to the Super Bowl.
You lose to the
And
Super
even
Bowl.
then,
You think if he gets a championship and loses, he's fired? Is that your opinion? That's where I was getting to. You pretty
it's
much
gonna be
answered
tough
me.
because, I
Yeah,
mean, he has to get to the championship game. Has
right.
to. I mean, we're not
Right.
talking just first round. We're not
Why do you think
anything but the
Andy Reid
championship.
had a long tenure there in Philadelphia? Because he's
Yeah.
taken the Eagles to fricking 4 championships
Yeah.
in a row,
I'd say
and, you know?
if it was me and he gets to the championship game, I think that's enough to save his, job, even if he doesn't get to the Super Bowl, but you know how Eagles fans are. They'll probably be calling I mean, you've tasted it. You went there. You won it in 2017, right? And now you went back and you lost. And the bar has been raised. The bar is we win. And now he went to the Super Bowl, lost, and then had a down year. So if they don't go back to the Super Bowl and get there, you're going to see changes made. And
So
maybe that's why Pickett is here. Now, Howie Roseman's not a stupid guy. So maybe he sees something in Pickett that we don't see that he feels, let's put him on the side, like a Steve Young when the 49ers got him from Tampa back in 87 behind Joe Montana. When 49ers fans are like, why do we get Steve Young? We got Joe Montana. So maybe he sees something that we don't, and he's got him there as a placeholder. But Jalen Hurts' job's got to be on the line too this year, I would say, because why would they get okay, so he's just going to be a backup. Well, he's still young, and he
right.
still has potential just to be a backup. I think it's a statement he's putting him there to say, all right, Jalen, do your thing, buddy. And if he wins, fine. Then but it's going to be a distraction. Yeah, he's going to be looking over his shoulder going, man, I got this Kenny Pickett here. And, like I said, I think Kenny Pickett's too young just to be a journeyman backup at this point. So they're making.
So here So in the last 2-year career with the Steelers, following 6 seasons at Pittsburgh, Pickett went 14-10 in 24 starts and completed 62.6% of his attempts with 4,474 yards. He also threw 13 touchdown passes with 13 interceptions, everybody. All right. So Pickett was selected out of a subpar quarterback draft class to be the successor to Ben Roethlisberger. His tenure was highlighted by a handful of fourth quarter comebacks and mirrored by a stagnant offenses and injuries. So, I mean, right. This is where I'm coming from. This is where I'm coming from with Chicago, bro. This is exactly where I'm coming from with Justin Fields, why they should keep Justin Fields in Chicago. And I do want to get to that. It's a good segue into your quarterback now because there's a lot of moving parts going on with the Bears. And I know in your who won so far in free agency and losses, you have a wild card in this one, Roy. So I'm going to tease that a little bit.
Right.
But before we get in, I want to talk about Justin Fields, and then I want to get right into your winners and losers of the draft and your wild card. And obviously, you're going to start out with the losers of the draft. But let's talk about Justin Fields for the next 5 minutes, and I want to hear your thoughts and what would be the best option for the Bears right
Well,
now.
I agree at this point. I mean, his trade value is going to be next to nothing if Mac Jones got a 6th round pick to go to Jacksonville and back up Trevor Lawrence. And nobody's even calling for him because we've seen all the quarterbacks sign, like the Gardner Minshews and the, Sam Howell. Kirk Cousins is proven, okay, not a Super Bowl winner, but he's had some success. Sam Darnold, right? Drew Lock. So these are all quarterbacks that have already been signed versus trading for Justin Fields. So the league, for whatever reason, is down on him. He runs, obviously. He's a runner. He's gotten over 1,000 yards, but they don't think he can pass. He's kind of like in the Lamar Jackson boat with Baltimore. And I think that he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think the Bears have to sell him on this and say, look, do you see what the league thinks about you? He was good at Ohio State, really good. When the Bears drafted him, myself and the whole city were through the roof. I think at this point, what they have to do is say, all right, give him all of the pieces that you possibly can give him. A line, you gave him a number 2 receiver now in Keenan Allen, who's 32 and he's been injured. But anyway, I digress. Give him all the pieces that you can give, and you got to take a shot with him because Otherwise, you're going to let him go for a 6th-round pick, 7th, whatever, or release him. Caleb Williams comes in. You start all over again. Is Caleb Williams a can't-miss prospect? I don't think
He's
you
going
can
to
say
Washington.
that.
He's going to Washington. I'm telling you, he's going to Washington.
If and I know Ryan Poles loves draft picks. Well, he just traded away a 4th-rounder for Keenan Allen. He's traded away some other picks. So they got to get some picks back, right? And to get more pieces because they still have openings on this squad. You got to run it back with Fields. I think Keenan Allen just came in, and what did Keenan Allen just say? He's like, "Oh man," or I'm sorry, DeAndre Swift, who just signed here from the Eagles.
Yes,
he goes,
you guys got a great
Fields.
That's a great pickup, man.
Everybody in that locker room, if you talk to the Bears, Jalen Johnson, all of them, they love Justin Fields. They love him. So if you let him go and you bring in Caleb Williams, the morale's going to go down. Now, Jalen Johnson said the right thing. He said, well, we're professionals. We're mature about it. But do you really want to upset that locker room, especially with your new free agent running back who says he loves him? I think you just have to play it's us against the world. Nobody believes in you, Justin, but your team and us. Let's go out there. We only got one thing left to do, like Tom Berenger said in Major League, and that's win the whole effing thing. And you got to take that us against them mentality. Trade the one, stockpile picks, give them everything you got, and let's roll. I mean, that's all I can see. I don't see bringing in Caleb Williams because I think he's really going to upset the locker room and the chemistry. They might not say it publicly, but they love Justin Fields. Even DeAndre Swift, who's an outsider coming in, loves him.
I also want to break some more news that occurred today. The Titans swooped in and last minute signed Ridley for 4 years, $92 million, $50 million guaranteed, as he finished with 76 receptions for 1,016 yards and 8 touchdowns last year with the Jaguars. He is now a Titan.
And see, that's the guy I wanted to see here in Chicago because
you know what? I thought you guys were going to get him. Calvin Ridley is sick. He just was in the wrong team for the last 2 years, but he still showed up.
That's who I wanted here. Keenan Allen, again, he's 32, right? And he hasn't been on the field. He keeps getting injured here and there. But when he is, he's really good. But he's already done it for like 10 years. That's kind of a lot. He's got a lot of mileage on him. I don't know. I would still love to have Marvin Harrison Jr. here, right? Opposite of DJ Moore. So I would love to have
right
Ridley.
now. I'm telling you right now.
So that's why the Bears are a wild card for me. I didn't put them on a winners or a losers list because
you gave it away.
With the I mean, like I said, because the quarterback question's still open and you have this guy who he's 32 with some tread on his the tread's wearing away on his tires. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I can't put him in either category, winner or loser.
That's okay. You know what? I like it. So there's your wild card pick, the Chicago Bears. That's a good segue. I mean, in my opinion, when it comes to when it comes to the Chicago Bears, I mean, shit, I've lived in Chicagoland and Chicago and the Chicago suburbs my whole life until the last 3 years here. I'm in Florida. But, the Bears radio stations, which shout out to my guys at 670 The Score. Shout out to Ryan Sudol. He's here down here with me in Florida, former 670 The Score guy. But those guys, man, you're listening to it now. I mean, you're hearing all the Chicago Bears fans that are just dying for something to take us to the playoffs, take us to the, win a playoff game. Just give us something, give us something to cheer about. And then all the distractions is, with the stadium, they're not going to, they're not going to or was it Arlington Heights? They're supposed to go to Arlington Heights. That's not happening. Now they're talking about doing a dome stadium off the lakefront, right next to the Soldier Field now.
It's not a done deal yet, but I think they're just
the rumor talk.
They're playing poker, but they're saying it would be somewhere along the lakefront, which there's still a lot. Stay tuned on that story. That's not
exactly. So that's just some rumor talk going around right now. But I really do feel that the Chicago Bears, they have too many distractions going on in that locker room. That media, Chicago media, is obviously, as we know, most people don't, but I'll educate you on this. Chicago's the third largest market in the media business in the United States, and they love to create a awesome narrative that's not true, and they can stir up the pot, and it causes a lot of distractions. And with me working with a lot of NFL players and future NFL players right now, I learned a lot from them by just asking questions. They always try to create this narrative. Hey, John Doe, found out that your knee's hurting. Yeah, it's just a little sore, but I think I'm gonna play on Sunday. Boom, 10 minutes later, John Doe's questionable, might have a torn ACL.
Right.
What's going on there? We might want to talk to the training staff about that, letting him on the practice field. That's where I'm coming from.
Right.
It's just a stupid example, but me being in the industry, working
Right.
with the NFL, working with, former coaches and all that stuff, getting some inside stuff is key for us because, you got to watch your back. You do get a lot of media training in this process from a publicist or whatnot, or publicist, I should say, not publicist, a publicist. So there's a lot of things that players think, oh, I want to be in the NFL, man. I want to be in the NFL. Cool. Can you shut your mouth? Can you stop saying stupid stuff on social media? Social media? There it is. Social media? No. Yeah, you're probably not going to make it in the league. You can be as awesome as you want, but you say one stupid thing, I hate to say it, but you're probably going to be canceled. So just be careful for all you future athletes out there. Make sure you have a good head on your shoulders. Make sure that your mindset is focused with peripheral vision on the field, your coaches, your teammates, and that's it. Do not listen to any other noise. Don't listen to any other noise. So all you rookies come in like Caleb Williams, and I'm going to tell you right now, man, Caleb Williams, Roy, we talked about his attitude. We talked about, and since we're, he is the number one guy right now, right? He is for sure going to go number one no matter what. But I really do not think he's going to fit well with the Chicago Bears because he's already making it clear, just like Eli Manning did, I'm not going to San Diego. I do not want to play in San Diego. Win. Well, where did he end up going? He ended up going to New York, right? As a Giant, won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants.
But this is what you got to do. If you're Ryan Poles, you sit down, you bring the team in there, and you look them in the eye and you go, all right, I've done my research. I've got what I need to know. But before I make my decision, I'm going to ask you guys and you guys, everybody, we're going to take a unanimous vote in this locker room. Who do you want? We're going to vote. Do we want Justin Fields? And if every hand goes up in that locker room, then you have to trust your players. You have to trust the team. And you have to say, all right, I'm going to stand up for you guys. I'm going to put my job on the line as the GM because I can get fired over this. And I'm going to say we're going to keep Justin Fields then, if that's what you guys want. And then you're going to see him like, because the Bears got the defense. They're only one edge rusher away from having probably could be the best defense. I mean, the secondary, the linebackers, they're all locked up. They're wrapped up. The line, they got Montez Sweat. They're one edge rusher away from being elite. You just got to make sure your offense is set. And if they can do that, now you're talking, let's go.
Bears Super Bowl 3 years from now. Bears Super Bowl 3 years from now, if everything comes.
That defense is like I said,
Fields stays, you think
one edge rusher away.
Do you think Fields can take the Bears to the Super Bowl? Not right now. Like if he gets developed, let me rephrase the question. If Fields stays this year, gets the correct development he needs right now, sticks with the system, sticks with the same system for at least 2 years.
Yes.
Can they? And he's healthy. Everyone's healthy. You think so? You think it's how many years?
How
3 years?
Play in a great
3-year plan?
College program like Ohio State and have all his teammates, professional athletes, the best in the world, saying they love him. How could so many people be wrong? How could Ohio State and all these pro athletes be wrong? Right? Not just saying it's their opinion. They believe in him. How could all these professional people, the best at what they do, be wrong?
What kind of plan? 3-year plan we're looking for? 4-year plan? 5-year plan? What are we looking for?
It's got to be 3.
3-year plan. I think
5's
that's
too long.
I think that's fair. All right, Roy, let's get right into it, man. So we already gave the wild card. The Chicago Bears is your wild card pick right now. Mm-hmm. We got about 15 minutes left.
Yep.
The floor is yours. Let's start out with the losers.
All right. I'm going to kick it off with the NFC East New York Giants. two things. One, letting Saquon Barkley go. I mean, that's your franchise player. I know running backs in this league now aren't valued as high, so you tend to pick them up in free agency, undrafted free agents, or you pick them really low. But if the Giants went all in and they took him in the first round to just let him walk away without doing anything at all to keep him in the house, they're on my number one list here as losers. They brought in Devin Singletary, who's not a bad running back when he was with Buffalo, and he's had some success in this league, but I don't see him being a number one, But then again, there isn't a number one. Usually teams, they bring in like a mix of guys. They have 2-3 backs that, play every other down, right? And you mix it up. So not a bad, I guess, replacement, but you just let your franchise guy walk. And then number two, they just bring in Drew Lock. They signed him. I mean, he's had as quarterback, he's had zero success. He's not even he's not a prospect anymore. He is your journeyman quarterback now. He is in that class. So they're definitely my loser. I got them number one on my losers list. Shall I continue on down the rest of the line?
All the way. I want to
Let's go. AFC West, Las Vegas Raiders. You are in Sin City. You are in outside of Tinseltown, LA. You are in one of the most prominent cities. They want to win. You need to bring your A game, right? Vegas has the best of everything out there. And they signed Gardner Minshew, which hopefully they're going to draft a quarterback, and they probably will. But again, why they didn't go after Justin Fields, which means it was the offensive coordinator there, Luke Gatzey, who was butthurt that Justin didn't like his system. And so he's not coming here. We're going to get Gardner Minshew. Fine, have him. But that's not good enough for Las Vegas's, tastes. They're going to need to do a lot better than that, especially if Tom Brady's going to be a part owner there who is a quarterback. He knows quarterbacking. So I got them on number two. Number three, letting Kirk Cousins go out of Minnesota, and you bring in Sam Darnold, and you still have Justin Jefferson, who's a Ferrari wide receiver, who's in the prime of his career. Like, you got to win with him now before he becomes Keenan, Allen at 32, right? You got to win with him now. So unless they got a plan in the draft to do something better, I don't see where letting Kirk Cousins go and going, Sam Darnold, loss. 4, NFC South. And here's where the Falcons come into play, right? And, Kirk Cousins, right? Wow, they've been terrible at quarterback. They move on from, they have the Super Bowl loss. Then they move on to, Marcus Mariota. Yeah. With him. Then they draft Desmond Ritter, who's supposed to be
horrible affiliate. I feel bad for
quarterback. He's a bust. Mm-hmm. And now the best thing you could do is bring in Kirk Cousins. I mean, this franchise is just terrible and in disarray, making quarterback decisions. So just because of that signing right there and all the money that they gave him, that's my number 4 loss. 5, NFC West, Seahawks. Okay, they've fallen a long way after Russell Wilson. They bring in Geno Smith, who did good. He did good. He had comeback player of the year. He was but now they signed Sam Howell from the Commanders, who was terrible. They bring him in, Sam Howell. Congratulations. Great job, Seattle.
Congratulations.
Great job in Sam Howell in Seattle, guys.
Great job in Washington. Okay. Anyways.
Those are my losers.
So, with that said, as you see the ticker on the bottom, let's recap. The Giants, Raiders, Vikings, Falcons, and Seahawks is Roy's losers so far in the draft. Before we get to your winners, do you know about this? This has just popped in on the Pat McAfee show. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Aaron Donald has retired at the age of 32.
Well, that's breaking news. I have not heard that yet, but to give him his due, wow.
Let's see what Pat McAfee had to say. We got about 2 minutes on this here. Let me get us up. I apologize, guys. And real quick, I want to apologize to everybody. You're seeing some things pop up when they shouldn't, but hey, I'm producing and directing and hosting the show at the same time. Cut me some freaking slack. All right.
Chewing bubble gum and trying to talk and walk all at the same time.
Yes, it sucks. Anyways, I can't put one foot in front of the other. That's why there's brick walls behind me. No, it's all good. But just please, we're gonna get a producer here soon, so it'll get me to focus a lot more on what's going on. But Roy is the man.
Adderall helps too, by the way. Just
yes,
kidding.
absolutely. No, absolutely, it does. Absolutely. I was prescribed to it at one point, so it's all good to say that.
Thank you for saying prescribed.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be canceled.
Exactly. All right, so let's see what they had to say here. Let me make sure my audio is good. Let me exit the full screen out of here, and then get this. Let's see, make sure there's no
You're
freaking.
gonna block the cock because when Sly comes on,
I knew a damn ad was
gonna
come on. All right, so we're gonna take this ad off because we don't need to see that ad. But while this ad's playing, I will play it here shortly. But yeah, I hate
that goes back to my point of Keenan Allen and the Bears at 32, bringing them in. 32 is like money in baseball.
Do you think it's the money? He said, "I have enough money. I'm just done. Why am I going to put
Why
myself
not? Why risk concussions and CTE and having major back and knee surgeries? Hey, go out with your health, man.
Aaron,
enjoy your life.
AD, game wrecker, Hall of
Pat
Famer.
McAfee Show, by the way, ESPN.
Congratulations on a hell of a run.
Hell yeah.
Out of Penn Hills in Pittsburgh, the East Hills of Pittsburgh. Actually, probably drove by his house last night on our way back home to Plumboro. Has done nothing short of represent his town, his family, his city in football superbly. Congrats on a hell of a run, AD. We all appreciated getting to watch you play football.
Yeah, wow.
You were an absolute terrorizer of offensive linemen. The amount of people that lost hours and hours of sleep because they were playing against you.
Dude, some wrestling shit right there.
Spans and scans a lot larger than you could ever imagine, going all the way
And
back
this guy was a
to
punter
high
in the
school,
NFL.
let
Wow.
alone in college.
Great
and
in
where
America,
you put
isn't
an
it?
entire program on your back. You've donated so much money back to the University of Pittsburgh that you have your own workout facility there. So not only do you go ahead and make it, you also give back to your community, you give back to your university, you give back to your town. Aaron, you did it right, pal. You did everything right. Hey, in that story about you telling your dad that he doesn't have to work anymore whenever you got paid is a beautiful thing.
I just said
Aaron,
that.
you did it right,
about
AD.
him getting paid. Yeah, congratulations, man. He's doing it.
I
He's
did
smart.
not expect this.
No, at all.
I had no
Hey,
idea
well,
this was
ring.
coming. What an
smart, man.
absolute stud.
He is
And now
truly
the
smart
Rams
on that.
are-
So, with that said, I don't want to show any more of that, but that's the Pat McAfee Show.
I got to
on
do the volume
ESPN.
with my hair though, like that. I gotta like get a
Oh,
little.
dude, he has some great hair. And
I
let's
gotta
talk
fertilize. Find
Let's
some
talk about it
fertilizer for
and
my
make
head.
sure, follow Pat McAfee. He is one of my favorites, man. He is just an awesome freaking dude. I hope I get to meet him one day. I do work some people that actually have played with him and know him. So one day I would hopefully get to meet him, and maybe he can be a future guest on the show.
Why the
Pat
hell not,
McAfee,
man?
if
But
you're
now my
listening,
hair,
come on
I'm all
in.
like paranoid here. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah, but make sure to check Pat McAfee Show out on ESPN. They're kind of breaking the fourth wall right now by swearing on the show. It's one of the only shows on ESPN you're actually allowed to drop some bombs on there. So hashtag PMS Live, Pat McAfee Show on ESPN. I just want to make sure I keep getting that out there. Yeah, ESPN. But anyways, so that's that. What a great career. I did not see that coming.
I'm laughing at the acronym, though, the Pat McAfee Show, PMS.
Yes. You like that? PMS Live. I know damn well he did that shit on purpose.
They need to have a sponsorship.
The man
with,
takes
like,
edibles before he goes on the
tampons.
show. Do you know that? Do you know that? He goes on the show with edibles and he talks about it freely that he is a THC lover. And you know what? I don't care because I've been doing my THC since I was 16 years old. It keeps me where I need to be because of my mental health. And that's okay. Find your way.
Health
Do
is
it
a
correctly.
big, you know that I'm a big advocate on that, and I'll fight that tooth and nail. It's
And that is the show we are
invisible
going to talk about that in the future, Roy.
in the future.
Well, you got about 6
right.
minutes left, so I want
All
to
right.
get you to your winners here.
Let me roll.
I'm going to show this on the screen, but
Okay.
your first pick, here it is. Go for it. It's all you, Roy.
All right, so Baltimore Ravens, I've got them down because for Lamar Jackson, and who I'm putting into the same class as Justin Fields, that's the guy he should be looking up to as a role model. Giving him Derrick Henry, though, as a free agent. Wow, that's going to be a two-headed monster now because you can run an option, you can run a wildcat. There's so many things that you can do with those two back there. Derrick Henry, though, for me is somebody. I broke my foot a couple of years ago, and I had what's called a Jones fracture. It's the bone in the side of your foot here, and he had the same fracture. And for a running back to have that and just come back and still be great, he had a pin in his foot too. Like, wow. So he's kind of like a role model for me, but they're definitely, I've got them down. That's going to make that offense even more formidable. Number 2, yes, I put the Steelers down. What a surprise, right? Because Russell Wilson, yeah, he's got too much tread in the tire. He's a broken down car and he's this and that. Hey, but for $1.5 million and the Broncos are paying for everything, why not until you figure out who your quarterback is going to be? So bring him in at 36. He's young, right? Compared to Tom Brady, compared to Drew Brees. I mean, this guy's won a Super Bowl. He's not like crap. It just was with a bad fit in Denver. Why not roll the dice and see if you change the scenery around? That maybe Mike Tomlin and him might hit it off, and maybe he might just still have some gas in the tank. It's not bad for $1.5 million, folks. Number 3, Texans. So they added a running back. They got Joe Mixon. And the only reason why Mixon had to leave Cincinnati, it was a salary cap issue. They didn't have enough money. And so he, being a running back, like I said, he's expendable. But that looks really good with CJ Stroud down there now. He's got another weapon that he could, go ahead and use. AFC South. This is one I'm going to spend a few minutes on because you've already got Anthony Richardson, but he was hurt last year. So he didn't really get a chance to show if he was going to be like CJ Stroud or better. But now being healthy with a full season, you give Michael Pittman at wide receiver, and then you give him a running back, Trey Sermon, and then you sign Joe Flacco. Like, dude, Joe Flacco's had, he's won a Super Bowl. Look what he did in Cleveland last year. Just picking up the pieces from Deshaun Watson. He's still got something in the tank. He can mentor Anthony Richardson, and Anthony Richardson doesn't have an ego like, I guess, Deshaun Watson's like, I'm the starter, and if Joe Flacco's here, that's going to make me feel uneasy. Learn from the guy. Use it to your advantage. So great job by the Colts.
Even though Flacco had a shitty playoff, man, was he?
Hey, but you know what? At his age, he wasn't expected. He's a backup. He wasn't expected to do that.
Well, he's technically a starter for Cleveland. But
come on, at his age, was that expected out of Joe Flacco? Not at all. This is a great landing spot. All he's got to do now is just be the backup and mentor Anthony Richardson. So, and then the last but not least, I had your Eagles as winners with Saquon Barkley, adding another big piece. Like, let's go. Let's get back to the Super Bowl. Let's win this damn thing. What do we need to do? Let's sign the biggest running back that's out there. Why not?
I was so happy for that. Like, that was one of the happiest days for me.
You're happy about it.
Because I said, you know what?
He's available.
And he wanted to be an Eagle. That's the best part. Like, he's taking pictures with his family. I mean, he is just so excited to be an Eagle. And that right there, I mean, like, you're getting
compared to the Cubs with Craig Counsell. He's the best manager out there. He wanted to come here. If the best is available and you have the resources, bring in the best. That's a no-brainer. Right. So because of that, I put him on the list.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that because, I mean, I think the Eagles need to go forward from here on out. So
they got to put their money where their mouth is, and they got to step up this year. So,
absolutely. So your top five winners. Your top five winners.
Like, hey, man, there's no excuses. I gave you guys Barkley. Now get your asses back to the Super Bowl. Let's win.
And so your top five, let me finish this out for you. Ravens, Eagles, Colts, Texans, and Steelers.
Yes.
Really think Steelers are winners even though with Russell Wilson?
I mean, again, why the hell not? For $1.5 million, pair him with Tomlin. At 36, look at Drew Brees when the Chargers let him go. They thought he was done and washed up with a bad shoulder. How'd that work out for the Saints? You got to roll the dice. I applaud him for it.
Yeah, hey.
They could have done worse.
Well, with that said, Roy, this is going to be the end of episode 2. Once again, we have a lot of guests coming up here in the future, and we're so excited to continue on with this. This is our first video stream, and I'm very happy with it, even though I'm kind of producing and all that stuff. So yes, that's why this brick wall is kind of an inside joke, but you all can be in on this inside joke. I've hit a wall this week. I'm burnt out. Roy's burnt out. We're all burnt out, but we want to bring you the best content we possibly can. And once again, the reason I'm burnt out is because I'm working a lot. It's okay. I'm not complaining. I'm just burnt out. I'm a human. we could be burnt out. So F off if you don't think I could be burnt out.
And you mentioned stream. Just
But I
as
love
long as you're not urinating a stream, you got to urinate a river, because we're not old enough yet for commercials to do, are you having problems urinating? Is your prostate enlarged? No, not yet.
Give me 2 years, I'll be on that commercial. But
Not yet.
But with that said, Roy, it's been a great show. Thanks for your insight. Make sure to follow us at HJC Media Group. We just started the Twitter X page, so you will see 0 followers on there. I don't really know how to use it. I'm going to leave it up to these guys for Twitter X. But you follow us on all social platforms at HJC Media Group. If you guys have any questions or concerns, we are going to be having an idea pool coming up from you guys wanting to know what you would like to have on the show. We will be doing live remotes hopefully by episode 5, so stay tuned for that. A lot more news coming up, a lot more guests coming up. So with that said, I'm Rob Eggers. That's Roy Herman simulcasting from Chicagoland. I'm simulcasting with him from Florida. Until next time, episode 3, you've been watching Jak City Backstage-Sports Edition. Later, guys.